What's up, everybody? This is Sage with the Me vs. Me podcast, with a first real live video appearance. And of course, Doodle had to say hi. Today we're just going to be recording a reflection. It's my own little series of just ideas and thoughts that I'm going to be putting out, as well as other guests will be putting out along the way. Me and Sheldon have both already done one, but this will be the first video, and hopefully the very first of the rest of the podcast on video, which you'll be able to watch Spotify, and you'll be able to see clips on TikTok and Facebook and whatnot. But welcome. I had a pretty recent experience, and I wanted to kind of reflect on it a little bit. I got an interesting perspective kind of surrounding it. Anybody that's close to me or actually involved in my personal life kind of knows this story already, but I've had a couple of days to think about it now, and I've had a few different inputs and perspectives, put out there for me because without really understanding why it happened, it was just, why I don't understand why a life event like this would really, take hold and decide I wanted to step in. But the story is a Monday while I was working, and for anybody, obviously, like I said, who doesn't know or who hasn't heard in previous episodes, my full-time job is I drive a tow truck, and it's basically like a small semi. I was just driving back to my yard, not doing anything crazy. I was on the surface streets, no highway, and I had a large piece of plywood come off of a truck that was in front of me in the other lane and went through my windshield and pointed directly at me. It made probably about 1.5 to 2 foot wide gash in my windshield, and luckily stopped right in front of my face. Now it started off as just as kind of like a shrug it off. My job is pretty well dangerous as it is, so I don't want to say that I'm used to bad situations, but I kind of am. I stare danger in the face fucking daily, and it's not necessarily something that I'm cool with, but it is what it is. It's my reality for now. And so this happened, and I had time to analyze what was happening. I had time to weigh my options and see if there was a way to remove myself from getting hit by this giant fucking piece of wood, and there was nothing. So while it was in the air, I checked my shit, checked my surroundings, there was no panic. It was all pretty smooth, solid thought process, and there was no option, so I took it, and I just put my head a little bit down and, cringed and waited for the impact. And it hit, and it didn't reach me, luckily, because if it would have hit me, I don't know that I'd be sitting here right now. The video is on, it is on Facebook. But yeah, it was handled rather well for what happened, and I'm cool with that. Nothing bad came of it. There was no anger towards the people that it happened to. We got all the information, blah blah blah. That's all done now. But everybody that was aware of it initially, the reactions, I think, are what made me think more than the actual incident. I didn't think a whole lot of it when it happened. Everybody else was much more concerned than I was, and that kind of threw me off. I didn't think about it in my head like that could have potentially been it. That could have been my last call, So I don't know, it gets you thinking. It makes your mind twist for a little bit. It's an incident that really makes you wonder, like, what, there's different outcomes and there's different situations that could have come of that one 2-second incident. And, it's just wild that it didn't go the direction that it really should have, at least in my mind. But the important part, the things that I want to take away, and that the things that I wanted to share from this. It was one of the major perspectives that I was informed of, that I really felt like was much more powerful than what I'm taking away from it. Somebody had mentioned, without a doubt in their mind, which was more unbelievable, and you're probably going to listen to this and you're probably going to know exactly who you are, and I thank you again for that perspective, because I find it to be true, and I find it to be okay. And anyway, the perspective was that of, I was put there in my particular truck at my particular height. Not for me. That wasn't for me. I came out of it without a scratch on me. I was perfectly physically fine, without incident, and that's the thing to be thankful for. But it raises the eyebrow, and it raises the question about, what if it wasn't me? What if it would have hit the car behind me that may or may not have had less windshield or less time to react or whatever have you, or a kid or a student driver or a baby in the seat? All these different scenarios that you can play out in your head. And, it's crazy to think about that kind of an intervention. Maybe that was my angel was saying, hey, you need to, this is going to be your place for a minute. It's the best alternative that we can give for everybody that's around you. And you know what? I am grateful that if that's the case, that I was used for that, because, like I said, it didn't hurt me. It was just a truck, and it's just a truck. It's material. It doesn't matter. But it didn't cause nothing, and I think that's important. These situations that get placed in our paths, I think it's super important. I'm going to keep this real short, but it's super important to not always think about yourself, to think about what kind of an impact a situation that happened to you may have had worse on others. And, maybe that specific situation was put on you because you are load-bearing and you are able to deal with it and correct it. And, one of the things that I set out to do with this podcast was I wanted to be a conduit for everybody to share their stories. I wanted to be that voice. I want this to be for everybody. And in having that want, I think that maybe that was that circumstance. Maybe that was my way of inadvertently saving a life, or maybe just helping somebody else. And I'm good with that. But I don't know. It was just such a drastically random situation that could have been way worse for me or anybody else involved. That it really, it's just makes you think. And I wanted to share how open-minded you really have to be in these situations, and how constructive these things can be for you. So, keep that shit in mind. It's not always about us. It's definitely not always about what you're thinking about yourself, and that's important. So, like I tell you every fucking episode, you are your own worst enemy. It's you versus you, and I think that's going to be forever the biggest battle you've ever had to deal with, because it still, to this day, is mine. Anyway, my reflection, my first video. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the continued support that everybody has just overwhelmingly put out. I love it all, and I'm so grateful for this, and I'm so grateful for this, and I can't wait for a shit ton more. So, get your merch, get your listens, get your subscriptions, because it's about to get a whole lot better. I love you.